Well, in quick tip 496, we explored Van Gogh just a little bit about Van Gogh's process and how he moved when he was painting. And then we got this request that said, would you follow up with techniques of Monet and Renoir? Well, I tell you, we'll take one at a time and we'll see how old Monet did it. I love looking at other artists' palettes, and we were just lucky enough to have one of Monet's palettes as well. In the quick tip we did on Van Gogh, we had a photo of his palette, and the palette of a painter after a painting is finished or somewhere late in the painting process often reveals a whole lot about how that painter worked. So if you want to go back and take a look at the 496 and see Van Gogh's palette and then compare it to this Monet's palette, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I want you to look at this. It looks like a mess when you look at it, but it's not really. You can see here a part of what enabled his work to look like it does, like all Impressionists, was their ability to keep values similar between colors that they would put side by side. So I'll go into that a little bit more in just a moment, but here's what I want you to notice. He's got these areas, these color areas on the palette. You can see it right here. If you squint, you can see how similar. We've got several colors working right in here, but you can see how similar in value they are. And then we have a darker value range right over here. And then right in here, we have kind of a middle value range. So you can see a little bit about how he worked. But if you look at his palette, you also see that when people tell you that no color mixing was done on the palette by Impressionists, you'll see here, well, if there's no color mixing done on the palette, what in the heck is this stuff right in here and in here? So a lot of the painting, the colors that we see in Impressionistic paintings are caused because of two different colors being placed side by side in short brush strokes. When you look at it up close, it looks like a mess to you, but when you step back, your eyes blend those two colors and create a third color. And that's what the Impressionists were doing. They were working with that concept of color. They're more interested in color than they were in shape, or in some cases, not so much a value structure. Some of them did address that, but that's not where I want to go with this. What I want to show you next is a close-up of one of Monet's paintings. Now, one thing that's different from Van Gogh, Monet is different from Van Gogh, is that Van Gogh was more spontaneous, and I talked to you about that, about his nature of being very, very high and very, very low. And when he was very, very high, he would paint very rapidly, probably bipolar. But Monet was very precise in his studies. He loved to study, spend time studying what was happening and what colors he could use together and how he could lay one color on top of another to interpret the colors that he was seeing, in some cases exaggerate them. And we know that he did multiple paintings of single subjects. I think around 25 or 30 haystack paintings, and this is a photograph, kind of a poor rendition, but still a photograph of one of his haystack paintings. This is a close-up of this area right in here. And you can see, when you look at this, you can see how those brush strokes moved around. And you can see that they are really appearing one on top of the other in layers. Now, I'm going to take this part away. This is a close-up of this area right here. And you notice here how we have multiple colors, but they are the same value or in the same value range. We see the ones here, we see multiple colors, but we see them in the same value range. And what I'd like to demonstrate for you is what we think was Monet's approach. So I want to use, this is not a haystack, but it's a hay bale. I thought that would be pretty close. And I'm going to just place that right here and hope that you can see it well enough. So place this right here. Now what I'm going to try to do for you very quickly, but slow enough to kind of show Monet's process. I want to use what I see right here to interpret this. If he had been looking at this and studying it according to where the light is hitting, where the light source is hitting it, and according to what's in shadow, he would most likely interpret it in colors like this. The colors of these haystacks here, I would assume, are something like the colors of this. Very, very, very muted. Not very, well, just single colors. We don't see all the variations of the hues. So what I'd like to do is to approach just a little bit of this, just to show you what we think we know about how he worked. So first of all, before getting to that, let's just get a little bit of a preliminary drawing to place. Let's just place what we think would be close enough to it. I'll just I won't do this very large. Let's just do something like that. That is pretty round there, and then we have it coming over like that, and a little bit more like that, and then that's a little bit more paint on the brush. And then sort of like that. That's probably close enough. And then we see this shallow area right down here. That just a little bit more indicated. Now, normally my normal painting process would be to then divide that into light and shadow. But what what Monet most likely did for the underpainting is he would certainly gauge the value. So we see the value in here is very much like we see the value there. That's a shadow, and this is more or less in shadow. The sun's coming in this direction right here, and it's passing over and throwing this part into shadow, and this part is coming just enough. Maybe it's more like this is up here, causing this cast shadow right here. So what I'm going to do is interpret this in multiple colors like he did here. Now, most likely he would do something like this, and I'm going to just do this. I'm not so sure he used a palette knife, but he would use more or less primary colors or colors that were more highly saturated as they came out of the tube. He would begin with those. So what I want to do here is I want to just on the palette create a mixture. I've got this blue right here, but I'm going to get this blue. This is the ultramarine blue, but you see that's a very highly saturated blue. And I'd like to get that in the same value range I'm seeing that. Maybe it needs to be just a little bit lighter. Not much though. And then, a little bit of white there. And then I want to create a blue-green. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come beside it right here with the Rembrandt Viridian. Let's raise the value of this just a little bit. All right, now this one I want to raise the value so it's pretty much the same value as this. You can see this is blue-green. I think maybe it needs to be darker. Now that I'm looking at that, yes, I've got that way too. That is way too light. So we just pull some more color into it, more blue-green into that, and get that value as close to this as we can get it. Let's see. That's close. Perhaps just a little bit darker. The Rembrandt Viridian is a very weak tinting strength, so it takes quite a bit of the dark when we start mixing with white. And so that's better. That's better. Now, now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take the red here. I'm going to darken the red, sort of like this. I'm going to darken that red. This is just a Cadmium Red Deep. I'm going to darken it by adding a red orange into it. And I want to keep that about the same value range. All right, that's about the same value range. And of course, then we have this lighter area here, and I've got that right there. This is the red orange from transparent oxide red from Rembrandt. Probably not what Monet would use. In fact, I'm not even sure this color is available, but he would get a mixture that was kind of like that. So this is certainly not the way he arranged his palette as you saw, but just want to show you a little bit of the process. Now, most likely, what he would do, we can see this sort of purple here. He would lay the value area in first and perhaps do that more quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blue here in the brush and I'm going to pull it into the red and get a violet very close to what I'm seeing there. Let me show you how that probably worked. All right, so get that color underneath here, and it probably could get just a little bit this redder. Let's just assume it would be. All right, so I'm just going to work that in a very dark value, as we see there. And also, I'll just go ahead now. Wait a minute. Okay, he was interpreting here the blue on the grass. So I'm just going to change the hue of that just a little bit. But you see now I'm keeping that same value. Now keeping the colors the same value was part of what these artists were fascinated with, what happens with the colors when they're kept at the same value. So let's just do that a little bit more there, and a little bit more like that. All right, now on this haystack, this is more or less rounded, but he's kept it pretty much in the same value range because it feels flat when it's in shadow. And so what I'm going to do there in that area is, once again, I'll pick up these colors. And I think maybe I'll just let that lean a little bit more towards blue on that side. And let's just throw those in very quickly as an underpainting, very quickly. Now, whether he would have chosen this particular range of colors, I don't know, but I know that it was the values, keeping the values the same was what he was aiming towards. So I'm just keep that flat for the moment. Now on the top, on this part here, I'm going right here, but I'm going to make it just a little bit darker. And we'll pull a little bit of that red violet into it. All right, and we will get that underneath that light. Underneath this light, we will do something like that. Just make that just a little bit lighter for the moment right there. But that may be very, very close to what Van Gogh, I keep saying Van Gogh, having Van Gogh in mind, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Monet, all right. Now, here's where the fun comes in. Now we'll start putting the colors in to interpret something of what we see there. And so the colors would go in unmixed. Colors would go in, let's get just a little bit more, just a little bit more of the red and the green. And here I am mixing them. I'm saying the colors would be unmixed. As you put them down here, they will be more unmixed, more like that. Now we get some layering of that going on. And let's get a little bit more. Let's get more of this going on over here and get just those colors placed. Now we'll take, I see this sort of random stroking there of those colors. And I'm seeing them get just, there's a little bit of variation in value as it moves on out into there. So what I think I'll do there is just pull, I'm going to pull just a little bit of white over here and just raise that value just a hair. Just put it right here. Just raise the value. Trying to remember what his palette looked like. Now let's get a little bit more, same value. Now, okay, now can you begin to see how that begins to kind of vibrate when we do that? So let's go back for some more of that purple. I'll rinse the brush off real good. And so we'll go in here now. And what I'll do there, all right, here's what we'll do. We're going to stroke this blue in. And like this, I'm getting the smaller strokes now. I'm going to need to start working over here too. Sort of see, I don't see, okay, that will end up being a little bit darker. That this way, pull that way. And now let's get the we'll get the red, mix it into the blue. And get that purple. A bit more. Now, start stroking that purple. Got a bit some more blue. To get that value, just get that value, the same value as the red. We're already beginning to see a little bit of that vibrancy that this juxtaposing or putting colors side by side to create new colors. Let's see, is that the same color yet? All right, let's see. Nope, got too light. You see, that's the reason we can't do that. Because this is the part of what the Impressionists were doing when they were working with colors, is they were keeping those colors the same value. So that business won't work. So what I'll do here is I'll just add a little bit of white to that. In fact, I'll get rid of that with a brush stroke. Just a moment. Put a little bit more red into here. And what I'm trying to do is to imitate. There we go. Getting very close now to what I'm seeing right there. All right, now get rid of that. There we go. There we go. Now begin to sort of weave these purple strokes into colors I've already put there. Let's go over here and do something similar. Now it's getting, I see it's getting just a tiny bit lighter. This right here, as it goes onto the edge, it's picking up a little bit more light. So now what I'm going to do now is move into a little bit more light, and let's pull just a little bit more light down here. And let's move up into here now and change values. And let's, yeah, okay. Change values just a little bit more. So I want that to be a little bit, to sort of do what this is doing right here. So here's what it sort of does like that. And then We'll change the value again. As the light's going to hit it the strongest at the top. So that's what he's done right here. He's changed that value, and then he's changed that value a little bit more, like there, like that. Bring that down. Now, paper towel. Now we see here, he's got that. We put this orange over here. Just put a little bit of yellow. What I want here is a really, really high saturated orange. I'm going to put a little bit of white into that. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do right there. I'm trying to get this color right there. All right, that's pretty close. And then where the light hits it the strongest, which is right here, what we have is something like that. And then we will make that just a little bit lighter. And do something like that. And then sort of pull that down right there. Now, let's see here. I need to go now and build just a tiny bit more light here and overlay some more strokes. Now, one thing is we don't really have time in these quick tips to do the whole thing because I said it again, Monet might have spent quite a bit of time overlaying colors there to get that built up the way he wanted. So we started out with a darker color, then we get one just a little bit lighter. We begin to weave different versions of that one in. So let's do this here. I need to get that just a tiny bit lighter. I'll just pull it from right here and just get that just a tiny bit lighter and begin to, I'm just sort of, now what I'm doing here is sort of moving in the direction I see this going. But keeping those colors unmixed so that one color lays on top of the other. And then let's get the lighter blue. Let's get the lighter version of that blue. Do we have a lighter version of that green in there? I don't believe so. I believe we have the lighter version of the blue. So we'll just pull that lighter version. That's me. Let's see it. Check it out. Check it out. All right, we'll pull the lighter version of the blue. Now lay it next to, there we go. Lay it next to the lighter version of the previous color. Then I'll keep waving my way around, following the direction of the image there. Let's see, a little bit more variation. Lighter version of the blue here. And pull that down like that. Now, I see a little bit more of a lighter version of the purple. So what I'm going to do with the purple this time, let's try get me a different mixture right over here. Let's see, was cobalt blue available? I think it probably was. In somebody's going to tell me. Somebody has studied all of his colors and is going to tell me exactly what color what colors he used. I can't remember right now. But the thing is that we can get to the same place with multiple color mixtures. I mean, yes, that's what I meant, multiple color mixtures. We don't have to have the exact same color, as long as we're in the same hue range. We don't have to have the exact same color. So this is what I'm after right here. I'm after that lighter version of that purple. Let me get that right here. So you see, Monet's approach to painting was a very deliberate, and whereas but Van Gogh, finally got it right, I can say Van Gogh, whereas Van Gogh's approach to painting was very spontaneous. Let's see, get that a little bit red. Now, you can take to the bank that he was very meticulous about his mixtures. There we go, see that? And I see a little bit more variation than that. So let's wipe the brush out really good. Check the file here. Now let's put that layer on. Let's go for that layer and see, is that, okay, that going to do the job. And then we will, what I'm looking here now is where the light is hitting a little bit more. Not much, but a little bit more. And starting around the edges a little bit more. Now we'll raise the value just a hair. Okay, where the light's shining, where's the light hitting? A little bit more of reflected light that would be. A little bit more. There we go. Right in here. Now, can you see how the same values of the colors are kind of blending together? Now, when I squint, I see a little bit different value in this and this, and so we'll make that little bit of adjustment. But just not going to be able to do, just like in the Van Gogh version, not going to be able to do the whole thing. There we go, there we go. You see, now, get just a little bit of this, and then we'll come back with another color. But I want to get that light going first, a little bit more light right in here, but gradually lighter. Lay that color down like that. And just get the principle of how he would have responded. Now let's do something like this. Let's get a lighter version of that blue. And now get it moving. There, that's too light. There we go. That's beginning to do. That's beginning to do it. And lay these lighter versions of the blue. So we got blue, violet, and green. How much green does he have up here? He's got more blue at the top up here. On this side over here, I would like to do just a, oh, I think I'm going to do a little bit more light before. I'm going to wrap this up pretty soon. Just want you to get get the sense of gradual building, of stroking colors side by side. Some mixing goes on the palette, but stroking the colors side by side and allowing those side by side blends to interpret the color as we would see it in the final analysis. Now let's see, just do just a little bit here. I keep wanting to revert to my own method and that wouldn't do the job. So I'm trying to look at what the transition's doing right there. That is a little rougher than I've got it. So Let's get a little bit of that kind of reflecting down in here, and maybe even have a little bit of that edge catching about right there, and maybe over here. And okay, it's beginning to do a little bit, beginning to look a little Monet-ish. Let's get just a little bit more of the lighter interpretations. You see in there, I want to match that color right there. And let's get this just a little bit lighter. And then we will, what did he do in the light there? He didn't do much variation in the light there. So that light moves over like that. Let's put just a little bit more. And then I think that will be catching right here. As it's coming down, would be catching more like that. And for having a little bit more of an edge light, let's see here, maybe a little bit of an edge light right in there. And let's get just a tiny bit more light, just another layer, getting just very much, just a little bit lighter, right in here with the blue, lighter blue. I barely had any paint on the brush that time. This light right here. And then let's do the same thing with a purple. I'll just get a little bit more of this purple right here. I think what I'll do is to mix a fresh batch right here. This is my palette doesn't look at all like Monet's palette did when he would finish a painting. But the approach of layering color in short brush strokes and in broken color, that's the main thing that we recognize in his work. Now let's see about this purple here. Just a little bit more here. Now where did I need it? Right in here. Next to that blue. Shorter strokes. And I think maybe that's something else that we'll notice. There are variations in the size and direction of strokes that we see in his work. Whereas in some of the other Impressionist work, we might see the strokes a little bit more precise. But we see his strokes going all over the place when we really look at them closely. All right, now let's see. Is that enough to get to give you that? No, I think I need it. I'm not happy with that. Do just a little bit more right there. To give you the idea, just want to give you the idea of what his approach was, what he was actually doing, and he was really more observant than I'm being here, to tell the truth. I tell you what, I'm gonna make a little change right there. I'm not so sure he would approve, but move that up just a little bit. There we go. And I want to reflect this right off the edge, right there. And we'll reflect it a little bit more like this, a little bit more like that. Get that a little bit more, like we might say. Well, that's kind of a rough version, but that gives you the idea of the process that Monet would go through when he was developing these. That his colors in some of his haystack paintings, and all of his paintings, sometimes the colors would be very, very close to the colors he was seeing, and sometimes the colors would not be very close to the colors he's seeing, but he would be breaking those colors up so that you could see more of an enhancement of color, such as looking at this and seeing more of the purples and blues and so on in the shadow side of the color. So if you want to have some fun, go to wikiart.com is a good place to go, and just search Monet. Monet's haystacks, or any of his subjects that he painted, where he's painted multiple ones. Try to analyze, look at the color, how it's laid, the colors that are used themselves. You can see the colors in there pretty well, and you can pretty much see what's laid on top of what. And then get another subject. It's not, I would advise trying to use another subject just like that, and sort of pace yourself through trying to see just how he put those colors together in order to create the paintings he created. Give it a try. It's a lot of fun. Be sure to view all of our quick tips. And while you're doing so, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell so you'll always get a notice when we produce a new quick tip, which is every week. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments section and we'll make a quick tip for you. Also, take a trip over to DianeMize.com where I have full-length lessons, downloads, DVDs, lots of other stuff there, some free stuff for you. And while you're there, you can subscribe to the newsletter, and that way you'll always be informed every time we do something new.